Welcome into DC On Screen. This is episode 416. I am your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
This is a special episode. We've been talking about doing this episode for a really long time.
A couple of years, in theory.
And I was the holdup. I didn't get into it. This is our Young Justice review.
Kind of news interview in this one, right?
Yeah, we've got some SDCC news for the season, for the third season, Outsiders. It's pretty exciting, I have to say, since now I have finished the first two seasons.
You're up to speed, and
yeah,
I'm kind of glad you finished just ahead of the wire on these announcements too, because now you can be like excited about them instead of just looking, thinking, "Oh, I wonder what that means."
Yeah, and it wasn't on purpose. If I'm being honest, it was just I'd started the show and kind of got about halfway through the first season and was just bored, and like actively bored with it. And I enjoyed things, but and we'll get to that. I'm not going to be a downer on this thing, but
don't let that be the lead in.
No.
You did actually enjoy it, right?
Oh, I did. I really did. It took about half of that first season to like really start building up, and I was just bored.
Just had a pacing issue early on, is what you're. Probably what we're experiencing.
Yeah. So then they announced that it was gonna go away from Netflix.
And you're all shit.
Yeah.
You know what's so nice though about Netflix in certain ways is you didn't have to go back and figure out which episode you were on. You went,
right.
And Netflix said, "Would you like to resume?" Like a golden retriever, just at the door waiting for you to come home.
Well, like literally, as happened with Smallville, the episode that I came back on was like amazing, and they actually did stuff, and I was like, "Oh man, I should have just powered through."
Should just click next one more time.
Yeah.
That may be a life lesson for you that you may need to consider. Is just every single time you're thinking, I'm done. Just watch one more.
No, that's how you normally operate. But
all right, then watch two more.
Look.
I had the same problem with Game of Thrones. I still don't watch it, and it's because I watched a few episodes. It was moving too slow, and I was told the week after, like, "Oh my god, it picked up so hard," and I thought, I don't have time. And now it's been 8 years.
I've kind of just decided that I'm probably never going back for Game of Thrones.
I never will. I actually do go back and watch like the crazy scenes just to see what I'm missing. And
yeah, it's July 22nd as we're recording this. We don't have much time.
No.
Before the new fall shows start.
No.
And if I'm being honest, I'm about halfway through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I haven't gotten to Legion. I haven't gotten Better Call Saul seasons 2 or 3.
Preacher?
I haven't gotten to Preacher. I'm being told by my sister and by Matt Carroll of the MCU that I've got to watch Westworld.
I haven't received that notification myself, so
and I believe it because a lot of people are saying that, and it looks good. It really does.
I've heard some negative things.
So
just to be a needless downer.
Dr. Steve of Weird Medicine is telling me I've got to watch The Leftovers. So, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I still want to take priority on that list somehow. If I can in any way hijack it and say, I finished Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you're mid-season, I feel you. It's okay. I can respect that.
Well, I mean,
And then you got that weird slingshot thing to deal with. But
then I've got the what?
There's a weird couple of like special slingshot episodes. I'm not sure how those time out. I gotta look that up. But I've still got to say Legion and Preacher, man, top of your list. And there are only a few episodes. You can knock those out.
Well, yeah, right now, okay, I'm about halfway through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It is phenomenal. I don't know, spoilers briefly for that. We're into the LMD segment of that. So, like, Mac is running around going, like, have you guys never seen any 80s robot movie? I mean, what the hell? Terminator, man. The machines always try to kill us.
I think I'm only on like episode 3 of that season. Yeah, I've got a lot of catching up to do.
It's a really good series.
I need to binge hard.
This is the best season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that they've ever done.
The introduction with Ghost Rider in particular, I really liked him first couple episodes. I wasn't sure where it was going to go, but it was great. I liked his version.
Oh, Yeah, I really liked this version of Ghost Rider, and we do get like a little bit of a glimpse of Johnny Blaze for just a second.
Nice.
And that just thrilled my heart. But anyway.
But to the matter at hand.
Yeah, to the matter at hand. You know, long-time listeners of this show know we can't just talk about the thing.
Mm-mm.
We have to talk about all the other things.
Sure.
Doing my best to plow through. I've got several shows to catch up on, things that I've already started, and I can't start new things unless I finish them. I did successfully finish Girls. I was successfully disappointed with the ending, and as I expected.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I heard a couple of rumblings about that too.
Rabble.
You never know. You just gotta go in there and see what you feel.
So, Young Justice, season 1 we're going to talk about first. Man, I thought Roy was a dick. That's the first thing that I thought of the show. Like, I'm watching them all go into, like, the little, like, Hall of Justice and everything. Mm-hmm. And they're all like, oh, yeah, we're cool. And, you know, and then Roy's just such a dick.
Yeah. I mean, I really, the arc they put Roy through in that first season is phenomenal, though.
Yeah.
It all pays off. I know he's an asshole there, but it all pays off so well.
It pays off better than I thought it would. Like, I'd never watched Young Justice, obviously, in his first run. I was still going through, like, it's sort of like, you know how, like, you, I don't know, sort of like how you're married to someone for a really long time, and then suddenly there's, like, a bitter divorce or something. Mm. And then you're alone. And, like, I don't know, like, other, other people of the opposite sex start trying to, like, get your attention at times, and you're like, no, you know? That other thing didn't turn out like I wanted it to.
I see.
Or I still don't have that. And I was still heavily mourning the Deanie-verse.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that.
Every time... Yeah, you know,
that did come back around. I was wondering where you're going with that for a second.
Yeah. So it would be like, hey, Young Justice. And I'm like, no. It's not that other thing. No reason you couldn't have been that other thing.
Yeah.
Or Teen Titans. Like, look at this. I'm like, you could have done Teen Titans in the Deanie-verse.
Yeah. Like someone hands you a red balloon animal and it pops and they hand you like a yellow balloon animal. Like, I wanted the red one.
Yeah. Which, you know, I didn't realize at the time just how special the Deanie-verse was, and in as much as, like, none of that stuff was really meant to be by the studio, like, in continuity with each other. That Deanie and Tim just kept, and Burnett and company just kept making it part of the same universe.
Yeah.
And not asking.
Just tying it in regardless of... Yeah, and that was gorgeous work on their part. But, so how long did it take you to get over that breakup period and finally give Young Justice, like, some rope to see how you felt about it?
Oh, I don't know. I started.
I'll ask you it this way instead, because it's probably the same question. Which episode was it where you watched it and thought, oh, okay, this is going to be fun?
The final episode of Batman: The Brave and the Bold.
Oh.
And I'll say that because I kind of like just took a step back from almost all of the DC animated stuff because I was just that annoyed that it wasn't the Deanie-verse. And then I was playing around on YouTube one night and saw the final episode of Batman the Brave and the Bold, and that honestly opened me up so much to, like, it made me watch that series, and that series was so good. And by the way, actually tied into Batman the Animated Series.
A little bit.
I mean, there's a multiverse at play, and we see
that speech though at Batman. The end though is which is Deanie written. So he pretty much gave you like a breakup letter that said it's okay to see other people.
Basically, it's sort of like just some like I don't know, the ghost of my wife coming back and telling me it's okay to date.
Ah, yes. Speaking of which, American Gods is now on Stars. But yeah, so
oh man.
Which
forgot about that show.
Which part of Young Justice turned it around for you in season 1 there?
Oh, I don't remember. Isn't that sad? I don't actually remember. I just remember thinking like suddenly like, oh man, this is a good episode, and it was like the first one that I went back to. I don't know what the episode was.
Or what happened, at least, is my point.
I just know that... I don't know what the episode was about. I just know it was the one that I went back to, and it may not have even been. It may have been a little further into the season than I would like to believe. You know what? I think it was Cold Hearted.
Okay. I don't know these things by name. It's been too long. I watched the last time I watched the series was like 2 years ago, so we're gonna have to go broad strokes for me to catch up.
Yeah. Okay. I've just looked into the episode guide. It was Cold Hearted.
Okay.
It was the episode where Kid Flash on his birthday is told by okay, their team and the Justice League are teaming up for the first time, and Kid Flash is all excited as hell, and then Batman tells him he has to deliver a heart to a sick girl.
Gotcha. Yeah.
For a transplant. And I think that's the one that turned it around. I was like, oh my god, that was good.
Yeah.
That was so good. But yeah.
It was.
There were plenty of things I enjoyed before that, but that was like the first time I just kind of went, oh, okay.
This thing can stand on its own. I get it now. Okay.
Yeah. And of course it got better from there. I'll tell you what I feel like the show needed more of, and what I wish that it had had more of. The freaking Forever People. I was so happy to see the Forever People.
Oh, yeah. That was a small stint, wasn't it?
It was like an episode or two, but like I was so happy to see those guys. I don't even have that big of a connection with them, other than they're like, I associate them with like just how crazy the DC universe can get, because when I first got into comics as a little kid, I remember someone got me, I think it was an Overstreet price guide, and there in black and white on one of the pages was this, like, I don't know, it took about about a quarter of the page, and it was like a cover of the Forever People with Superman, and I was just like, what the hell is that? And it just looked so weird and foreign to me that it just, I don't know, it signifies something for me
in that
about
way,
the DC
then,
universe.
The cover worked perfectly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to go, yes, I will totally give you $2 to see what's behind that cover.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, and I totally wanted to read that issue.
Yeah.
So, and they were a lot of fun on the show. So I'd love to.
They were very charming.
I would have loved to have seen them.
Not as charming as Sphere. Sphere may be my favorite character.
Somehow I knew that. I watching Sphere, I'm like, it's like Jason's dog.
Yeah, yeah. But like inbox technology.
And then like they went the extra mile, and not only did they give Superboy a sphere, they gave him a wolf.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty happy with his existence right there.
You know what I hated about Wolf's existence?
Huh.
I just don't like seeing. I don't care if he's a giant, mean-looking animal. They threw that dog around so much on that show.
Oh, I know.
Like,
I hate hearing the, you know.
Yeah, and they gave it that noise. They constantly had that dog make that noise.
Yeah. Yeah. He's gonna get hit, unfortunately. But still,
yeah,
that dog's a bad A, man. I liked him.
All right, so I guess we should get into the characters a little bit here. Loved Dick Grayson. I loved Robin. I loved all of the stuff he did with playing with words. You know, overwhelmed, underwhelmed, just whelmed.
Yeah.
This is totally Aster, etc. Loved all that stuff.
Yeah. He was a lot of fun, and I like getting to watch him change too. He comes back and he's taking on the Nightwing role, and a lot of fun. Actually, one of my favorite story arcs was early on when you know it's very clear that Robin thinks he's supposed to be in charge, and he ends up having to concede that Aqualad should lead, and it's a really cool moment though, because Robin concedes, like, no, you need to lead this team, and Aqualad kind of accepts graciously, but says, okay, I'll lead it for now, but one day you need to be, like, one day you'll be a better leader than I could ever be, and that kind of stuff. So, that's a fucking great moment, you know?
Yeah.
And how much did you fall in love with Aqualad? Because I didn't know I cared about him. Yeah,
well, you know, I can't remember if he came first or the comic version of him came first, but of Calder. But I love that in the episode where he would kind of jump into his backstory a bit, and he goes back to Atlantis, and he's talking to Garth, and he was like, "You would, you should have been Aqualad, or like you were almost Aqualad," and like he was Aqualad in the comics.
Depends on what you read.
Yeah, but I dug all of that, man. I really liked.
It really made me care about his character. I didn't think I was going to.
I
want his weapons so hard. That's just cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to master the art of hydrokinesis, sir.
Sure, I know. I got to be magic to wield it, but that looks fucking awesome, is what it looks.
It does, but yeah. But jumping back to Dick though, was it me or did he seem a little subdued? Like maybe almost like it's like it felt like they played him a little bit like he was almost an abused kid.
Not
at
as
certain
much.
Times.
He plays like consider him inside always wearing the glasses. I don't remember how long it was before. I'm pretty sure he revealed his name, but like even on the team he stays a secret. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you right now if he actually reveals his name during the course of the show. I can't remember. But he's kind of always got his eyes covered.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like
they do play him a little pulled back, a little aloof, which is fine. It fits that a guy trained by Batman would be very secluded and when a little bit subdued and just doesn't give out information freely.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not really talking about that. I mean, like, he screws up on the team. He does something he shouldn't have done. He knows he messed up, and he kind of seems almost a little more, I don't know, like a dog, kind of acting like he's about to be hit.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
And then, like, Batman will be like, "You went against orders and did this and this and this. Good job."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, okay, so he's good? Okay."
I can see
that's
that.
That's just the first season.
But I mean, and still, even then, that was a good beat. Like it was a cool back and forth. It was worth it. And you got. I'm still thinking in the context of a guy that's been trained by Batman. Like, yeah, he's probably super hard on himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rest of those kids don't even know what what it's like to be hard on yourself compared to him.
Yeah, I guess also it just seems like the other kids who are like sidekicks. Proper sidekicks are such assholes. They're all like, "I'm no sidekick," and then Dick is just like, "Yes, sir."
No, Kid Flash is pretty. He's pretty subservient, I suppose. He's a team player.
Man,
he's a team player.
But it's such a different dynamic though. With Wally and Barry, like we don't see a whole lot of it, but what we do see is just like they're just like a big happy family.
Well, yeah, and that fits for me. That's how they were. I mean, how it's supposed to be.
Except for the fact that Wally is not as fast as Barry or Impulse, which
that's the only
seems to be the sticking point for him.
Yeah, it's the only thing that they didn't get right about Wally, I think, in the show. Right? Well, not get right, but they didn't do traditionally. Is Wally's supposed to be faster if it really comes down to it.
I mean, I think it's coming.
Season 3 definitely has its chance because I don't know where. Maybe we can go ahead and skip to where his character ends up, but he's gone. But the actor himself has said, "No, I'll be back."
Mm-hmm.
So there's this high potential that he comes back as one of those supercharged, I'm one with the Speed Force speedsters now.
Right.
Running laps around Barry and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So Superboy is fine. I a lot of people like him a lot. I kind of do.
I really did like him.
I liked him more by season 2, but initially he was just sort of like, "I'm angry and I'm gonna be alone over here."
Yeah, he did that for a minute, but they do snap him out of it pretty well. I liked watching him, him and McGonn's relationship over the course. Like that was one of the more stunning things when they came back from the break and McGonn was with Garth.
Yeah,
I was like, "What? No, I liked that relationship." I didn't know I was shipping those two until it was gone.
She was with Lagoon Boy.
Oh, it was Lagoon Boy. That's right. Sorry.
Garfield was her brother.
No, not Garfield. I thought I was saying Garth, but that's still wrong.
Oh, yeah, no, that's wrong.
Yeah.
I thought you said Gar.
No. her little half brother kind of thing.
Kind of
Her blood brother, if there ever could be called one.
Yeah, I liked them doing that.
That was cool.
Bringing about his powers in that way.
Yeah, that was cool. He had a super emotional story. Like it was a very heavy episode watching his backstory, and it was nice too to see him be such a chipper kid, and then like you see what happened to his mom. It was kind of rough, right?
Oh yeah. Okay, so going back to his mom, season 1, that was one of my big sticking points. Like early in the show, I hated Megan. Yeah. I hated her.
Yeah.
Because she'd be like, "Hello, Megan," like every 5 seconds, and
this was like months ago, and so forgive me. But somebody was messaging us about that, and I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I don't have the name on top of my head, but
the Vij.
Yeah. Saying like, is this gonna get better? I'm like, no, seriously. Even the Megan catchphrase, just bear with it.
Yeah,
hang in there. There is a payoff.
He didn't like the payoff.
Yeah, no, I did though.
I'm a little. It works for me, but I'm not a huge fan. Like I liked it. What it did for her.
It's definitely a tightly written. It works. It definitely works on screen. I mean, whether it pays off is different, but it definitely plays out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kids do that. They kind of latch on to something and sort of emulate it until they find their own way. And I dug it for that reason.
She's got such an extreme version of that problem that we all face that it was. I felt very moving to watch her go through it. And it's such exaggerated behavior, like trying to cook everything. 14 pieces of kitchen equipment moving around at the same time, and like just those exaggerated, very cartoony scenes with her completely made sense to me.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I wound up liking that take on it to some degree, but I didn't necessarily feel like it was worth all of her saying that all the time. It just kind of they could have underplayed it a little bit more.
it paid off for me. I was good. I mean, it's definitely my favorite version of Miss Martian. Compared to say Supergirl. This one makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah.
It's a problem for a different day. We'll see you in the fall.
I was oddly surprised that this version of Megan was a white Martian as well.
Yeah, and something that struck me. If you watch like the last episode, Megan, during the big fight in season 1 finale. Mm-hmm. Megan is one of so many people that kind of get their ass handed to them for a second, and like she changes back to white Martian shape to mess with Manhunter, and then gets like thrown up against a wall or something, and you see Superboy just go like Megan or whatever, and it's I really liked what they did though. Like she finally shows her true form, and he's good anyway. And I kind of thought, well, man, that is something. I don't know if someone turned into a giant praying mantis if I could feel completely the same about him.
Yeah, especially if they had that big brain sack on the back of him. Ugh.
It's I would like to think I could try, but that is.
I'm not so evolved.
That's asking a lot.
I am not so evolved.
The funny part was, like, I laughed and thought, well, that should be ridiculous. And then I kind of thought, yeah, he just came out of a tube. He doesn't have a real past. He has no hang-ups. And this maybe work. Maybe this is fine.
For someone who doesn't have any real hang-ups, he sure does have a lot of hang-ups.
Yeah.
But, and we'll get to one of those in a minute. But
oh, go ahead.
I love that he broke up with her because she was abusing her powers.
Yeah. That was cool.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I loved all of that, but we'll get to that season 2. Yeah. Artemis, I dug her. Loved Artemis. Thought she was really interesting. Thought she was a fun character.
She's great. And I really, really, really loved the storyline with her and the amulet and everything.
Yeah.
Them taking down the light. It was great.
Uh-huh. Yeah, she, I guess, again, season 2. But, in that first season where we're constantly being told that, she has some sort of terrible secret that she hasn't told the team. Mm-hmm. And of course we know that, her sister is Cheshire. And her dad's sportsmaster.
They had a cool dynamic, her and Cheshire.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the great accomplishments of the show, I think. And they made Sportsmaster menacing.
Kind of.
I mean, that should never be a character that it's anything but like oh look, Mothman. You know, it's like he should be up there with Condiment fucking King. You know what I mean? It's just such a ridiculous character concept, and I'll be damned, they made him worthwhile.
Well, here was their big mess up, and I'm not necessarily saying it was a mess up. It was probably intentional because these people are smart. They're like, let's see, we're going to spend most of the series showing you how badass Sportsmaster can be, and then at the apex of that demonstration, we're just going to throw him up against Slade.
Which was it was a good fight.
It's just like that he winds up running away from. So it's like, okay, we found his wall.
He's still a B villain. It's okay. We know Deathstroke is better. We're not crazy, but it was cool. Like it's like they went through all that trouble just to prove the point. It you know what it reminds me of is like Wolverine's secret origin story, where it was really just a writer's bet. Like, there's no way you can make an intimidating Canadian. He went, oh,
yeah.
I feel like something like that happened here. Like, we can't finish the story with him, but I can make him cool. Give me a second.
I liked a lot of the stuff between him and Artemis about how when he thought she was dead. He was just concerned about his rep, and that was a lot of rough stuff, man. That was
she had a pretty great. Even at some point, you even feel for Cheshire, just knowing that she's kind of she had to survive the same household,
Mm-hmm.
And you put in a situation like that, you don't always make the best choices.
Do you think it's interesting that she wound up with Clone Roy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, really, what else? We're kind of slipping into season 2 here and there.
Yeah. That's bound to happen.
I am always bored by the geomorphs. I don't think I've ever read a story or seen one where I was interested in anything that was really happening at Cadmus. So that was a little tough for me. But that's my own hang-up. I don't know why I've just never been...
I think I could get behind you on all that.
I've just never been particularly interested in anything that they've had to offer.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, quick side story, because I do think I agree with that, but just before I forget it, Zatanna and her father, with the Dr. Fate helmet.
I wanted more Zatanna in the show.
Yeah.
I was sad that they didn't have her in the show.
You wanted her to be a series regular?
I did. I really liked, I liked that she and Dick didn't really, that they dated for a while, but, broke up, and they're just, cool with that. It just seems like Dick. It just seems like him.
He's very aloof that girl, in this series,
he's like that in the in the books.
I know. And they don't make him as quippy and bouncy, I'll call it, here. I mean, he's definitely quippy and bouncy, but not so much so that he chews up the scenery. I think it's an ensemble cast, and they were trying to do justice to a lot of characters. And I think, by the way, let's give them some credit. They did. I mean, over the course of those episodes, I feel like I got a pretty good arc out of everyone they gave me on screen. Mm-hmm. And then, just to jump ahead generally, season 2, I feel like they came in, mixed the deck, shuffled the deck a little bit, and said, "Here, look, we're going to do it again." And they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tightly written show, man. Really tightly written.
Yeah. Okay. So I loved that they took over the Justice League for 16 hours.
Yeah. The cliffhanger at the end of season 1. What happened in those 16 hours?
Yeah. Yeah. I loved Captain Marvel being a kid in the Justice League. I loved the whole age.
That was heartbreaking too. He wants to hang out with the kids, and they don't want to have him because they think he's one of the adults. He's stuck in this in between where he. Mm-hmm. You and I were talking about this earlier. Billy Batson effectively gets to live his childhood dream of everyone, when you're 13 or whatever, wants to be a superhero. 10, 13, whatever. So he gets to do that, which has got to be amazing, but he's effectively, committing childhood suicide to do it. He will never have a regular childhood. So it's the nice dream, but he just wants to hang out with some kids his age, kind of spiritually his age more than anything else. It's got to be draining to be I'll call it 11. I don't know, whatever age Batson is in this show. It's got to be draining to be his age though. And you've got, the wisdom of Solomon and everything, but still Batman has got to be a very draining person to spend time with.
I love the bit where they were like, they're like, no one knew that he was 10 years old, and Batman goes, I knew.
Yeah. He'd known the backstory. He probably had it figured out inside 24 hours. Like yeah, those little lines from Batman a couple times killed in the show, man.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, I knew. Just simple stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of little lines,
Bruce Greenwood killed it as Batman. He did a really good job.
Great job. He's a wonderful voice for that character. Speaking of which, though, Superman and Superboy's relationship, a lot of fun for me. I enjoyed that.
It was a hang-up for me.
I felt like they dealt with it well. I mean, to me, it made sense emotionally, like for Superman to be a little detached at first, and then like by the end of season 1, he's talking about, I named myself Connor Kent, and he approves it. Like, no, that makes, I don't know. They bond a little bit over the Kent name, and yeah, I really loved it. I liked how that played out, and it didn't. And I don't know, it didn't feel taxing at all. It felt more real. Like this is just a kid that came out of a tube. What do you do with that?
I feel like Superman would embrace him.
I don't always feel like Superman embraces.
Give him the benefit of the doubt.
It's a common criticism, and especially in the the DCEU, we get that a lot. But I feel like it's a common criticism for Superman. It's like, no, he'd step up to the plate, and yeah, I think he always does. But I'm always willing to give him like a minute to adjust a little bit. To hey, I've got a clone. Jesus, like, let me hang out with that information for half a damn second.
Yeah. And I gotta say, like, I'm a little bummed out that they didn't play it up a little more. Like, let him, have like this sort of like rocky relationship with Superman. Like, you could do that, but without having Superman just be like, I'm just gonna look over here and move away.
They just
that's fine. I know.
I felt like they just made it intentionally awkward.
Yeah.
And that worked for me. He was never in any way actively hostile in any capacity. Like, he never did anything that was, ridiculously anti-Superman. He just... Yeah. He was taken aback. Obviously taken aback.
I know. It's just just a preference in character traits, and I'm not saying that they can't do it, and they didn't do it well, what they did do. I am a little bummed that we didn't get a Young Justice rendition of My Two Dads with Lex and Clark trying to rear the boy. You see,
yeah, just one episode of them arguing about it. Yeah, no,
I would love to see Superman and Lex Luthor, and they could have even used like the Superman not kind of being there for a minute as like like, what are you giving him these shields that are, like, what is it really doing to him? Like, what do you care? You weren't even there for him. And just, like, being like a divorced parents arguing over Connor.
They could have made that work for a few beats, yeah. But they were, I don't know, I see why they didn't do it, though. That storyline they were taking pretty seriously. It would have been... Yeah, it would have been off track to do it that way exactly, but I could dig it. But I like where they went with it, and to me, it's my like personal never-ending battle with Superman is I love the character, and I love the fact that he's the guy that is, at the end of the day, going to be accepting and just the big blue Boy Scout, and I love that guy. But I also love it when people tweak it, and he gets to be human and doesn't make the right decision for a second. That's some of my favorite stories, are when he isn't quite himself for a second. Yeah. So I dig this version. I like Connor getting to grow up and decide who he wants to be and stuff like that. It's great.
Yeah. All right. So
season 2?
Absolutely.
What you got?
Season 2, we jumped 5 years ahead. I love that. I love that was how they planned it. And just to be clear, I didn't watch. I didn't read all the comics that went in between. I know they had the time dates and the time stamps on all the episodes. Like the comic books coincide with those, and I'm not doing that.
I may be wrong about this, but I think there was even a video game that was part of the interstitial.
There is, and I'm not going to be able to go back for all of that. I will probably get the comics, honestly, because I enjoyed the show enough.
I almost got the game one day, and it's one of those things where it was, the content was probably worth it just to get the plot line, but like the game was given about a 2 out of 5, and I kind of thought, gosh, I can't spend $30 on that right now.
Yeah, that's a watch the story on YouTube type of situation. So I love that. They found Speedy.
Yeah.
And he was so messed
The
up.
OG.
I love that he just takes it to Luther. I'd love it. I loved his arc.
I mean, just not only takes it to him. I mean, takes everything he can find with him. I mean, it's fantastic. Oh, and wonderful arms on Mercy there, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I liked that Roy was that Red Arrow was so messed up. I love that he got with Cheshire. I really enjoyed that he was how angry he was with the team for not continuing their search for
like
Speedy.
They did about as close as they could to the that historic episode or comic book cover with oh my goodness, my ward's a heroin addict.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they got as close as they could in this context to really taking him down that far.
I like that they were able to be like, here's our Roy Harper, who, by the way, is a clone. So here's Speedy, and here's his transformation into Arsenal. Mm-hmm. It was really interesting to me. Like, it was, I feel like some of this show is just them, these writers just trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, but actually getting away with it.
But getting away with it really well, just making it work like hell.
And I didn't even resent the whole we have two clones in this thing story, because they did the same thing with Clone Roy. It was like, well, I mean, you're a test tube, baby. What do you want to do with yourself? Oh, I got to think about it. But he has to
initially they argued apparently over whether they were going to do Red Arrow or Artemis, and then they were like, we'll just do both. And it made so much sense, and it looked so good. Zatanna, I liked where she wound up. Lacey Chabert played her, and she did a great job. I wish we had seen more of.
Remind me where she ended up.
She in the Justice League.
Okay, makes sense. It's been at least a year and a half since I watched, so a couple times I'm gonna be like, yeah, you gotta refresh me.
She was actually kind of one of the weakest points to me in season 2, where she was just sort of a Deus Machina for the whole let's take down these Beatles storyline, because it's just like they're like suddenly in a cave and there's like a big scarab and she does like a spell and then they're like, wait, what happened? And they're like, oh, well, on another mission that wasn't on the show, we saw this scarab, and then this and this and this happened, and I thought, hey, that looks like Jaime's scarab. It was just, that was one of the worst parts of the show to me. It was like, didn't
think they got away with the exposition there.
No, that was poorly done.
No, I don't think it bothered me in the moment. I don't recall that being something that bothered me, at least.
Yeah, I was just like, oh man, that was messed up. I mean, it worked for the storyline.
It definitely got him through. It got the page turned, right?
It got the page turned, but I kind of wish, I don't have any problem with the actual story as is, just that the exposition of it was, or not the exposition, well, kind of, but the execution of it. The execution of it could have been a little different. They could have, kind of played that in over the course of the second season, I think, maybe. I don't know. It was clunky.
Okay.
And just seemed to come out of nowhere. I felt like we could have gotten a little more of Rocket. I was really happy with how they got the Justice League off Earth so that their team could actually have to deal with it. Mm-hmm. And, obviously it's because, like, hey, 5 years later we found out, guess what? We know what you did for those 16 hours. You went and, screwed up this whole world.
Right.
It became intergalactic outlaws. Mm-hmm. By the way, I loved Adam Strange. Like, I was so excited to see Adam Strange.
Oh, he was great. He got a wonderful treatment here.
Like, I watched that episode, and, like, before the episode was over, I was on Amazon looking for Adam Strange action figures.
They gave him some great play.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun. Could have used more of him.
But isn't that the nice part of the show, though, is that they did a really good job of introducing characters and you thinking, oh, man, I'd like to see more of that guy. And now we are going to get more. So if you come back and you get like a 2-episode Adam Strange arc, you're going to be so fucking happy. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like, by the way, Icon and Rocket are original to the show, right? Like I couldn't find them anywhere else.
It seems like there was an Icon somewhere, but I don't remember them.
It was a couple years ago when I looked at that too. But let the research do itself. But still, cool characters. And Rocket was a lot of fun.
Boom, 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 boom. I'm doing a little research right now. Is that in? Nope. First appearance was Icon number 1, May 1993.
Oh, so it's just an obscure guy.
Yeah, just an obscure guy, not whole cloth. So yeah, of the Dakota verse, whatever that is. I'm a little out of my depth here, honestly.
No. Oh,
anyway.
In any case,
Dwayne McDuffie.
2.
Dwayne McDuffie created him.
Oh,
of course he did.
Yeah, why not?
Dwayne McDuffie's awesome. Or he was awesome.
So even still, the story, it deals a lot with the Reach in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
I liked getting to deal with the different flavors of Beetle. That was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just a huge fan of Jaime Reyes' Blue Beetle. Just one of the most, one of the great shames of my life is I know if I could get to Injustice 2, somehow I could play him, but I have yet to make that happen.
Yeah.
But he's just got, it's such a neat character concept for me, the scarab that attaches to him, all that stuff. So I love the character so much. And they did I think as well with him here as they did with Brave and the Bold version. I liked him just as much here as before.
I liked him just as much, but it was kind of apples and oranges for me. It was just two totally different things.
Yeah, and this show takes itself not way more seriously, but it takes an entirely different tone than Brave and the Bold. But the amount that I liked each character is wonderfully high.
Mm-hmm.
Loved his art, really did. Him getting to take down the Black Beetle at the end of it.
Yeah. We've already talked about Gar. I love that they brought in all of those awful Super Friends characters and made them good.
Yeah. Again, the show did a great job with taking a character you may not care about or one that we had to look up just to know where he came from.
Yeah. I love that Wendy and Marvin showed up. I love that Wendy and Marvin showed up in the first season. I love that Megan thought that Wendy and Superboy were kind of getting down. And he was like, "Oh no, she's actually dating Marvin. They're so awkward. I've just kind of been a buffer because they're so awful at this."
Yeah, it was good.
That was great.
It was really good.
I love seeing Static show up.
Yeah. Being given accolades from Black Lightning.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that was, if I'm not wrong, and if I'm just not missing something, I thought that was a really interesting take on Apache Chief. What was it? He just made like a giant psychokinetic version of him. Is that what it was?
I don't remember that one. That one's dropped from my radar. Sorry.
Remember the young Native American guy?
Kind of.
Who created a giant brain, like a mental apparition that could destroy things.
Yep.
And he was floating in the center of it.
No, I don't. That's completely out. Completely out.
That
of
was Jaime's friend.
Oh, cool.
And he gets abducted by the aliens, and then they go to talk to his grandfather, and his grandfather's slowly sipping the water, and the scarab keeps telling Jaime, he's useless, destroy him.
I do remember that one when they're trying to escape and all that. Yeah,
yeah,
that was a cool little team they had put together there for a second.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you got. I don't know what else. I don't know what else I've got on it, man. I really love the series, but I'm just so damn happy they're gonna have more, because there was a great scene with what's the guy's name that's with Impulse in the possible future.
I don't remember that guy's name.
Nuclear Man or something like that. Anyway, he's one of those guys that has an uncontrollable power, and Impulse goes back, he fixes that situation, the guy's all happy, and then he looks around and is like, no, it should have changed. This isn't Crash. Whatever.
It's totally mode.
Yeah. They had fun with slang. That was actually kind of an endearing part. But to see that little kind of castaway scene where you're sitting there wondering, okay, well, that's got to mean something. That's a glimpse of the future. And then they go and they don't really look at it again. And then, the last shot, you see Vandal Savage, shaking hands with Darkseid. And whoa. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And so help me. I mean, if these guys have been good to me. Like they wrote a tight show. They did a great job with a lot of characters, and the story arcs were pretty freaking great. But that's a hard thing to leave hanging if they're not going to do Darkseid next season. It
is. And I'm sorry, I don't remember it was the bald guy in the future. I don't remember that guy, what his name was.
Oh, either.
And it escaped my memory. They did leave that hanging. Loved Impulse though. He was a lot of fun.
He was. I like him showing up and being just way too precocious about how much he knows about certain people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed him.
Oh, wait. No, his name was, I'm remembering. Oh gosh, what was it?
I think we'll live if we can't remember it. That is not going to be a major problem, I don't suppose.
I don't know. I feel like it is.
It's we're gonna be okay, Dave. We're gonna be okay.
Are we?
You're not gonna be okay, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I'll try.
I'm not.
I tried to convince you, but I did my part. Or I did my best. I gave it at least a mild effort.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
If I can't find it though, I'll move on. I'm sorry.
I think I'm already at the point where I would prefer we just move on. I actively don't care what his name is anymore. In fact, screw that guy. You want to be remembered? Be more relevant. Don't just show up in 2 episodes.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. So, yeah. Thought it was fun that Artemis and Wally wound up together. Yeah. And, I did the whole
like
Artemis.
A stupid child when that didn't work out.
What do you mean?
Oh, I mean, when Wally goes, that was rough on me.
Oh, yeah, when he died or whatever.
Yeah.
Went to the Speed Force or whatever it was.
When he ceased, as the Blue Beetle put it.
Right.
Or as the Scarab put it.
I think the Scarab was one of my favorite characters in the show.
The Scarab?
Yeah.
I can see that.
He just wanted to kill everyone. He's like,
that'll be like our dark horse favorite characters of the show is me, Spear, you, Scarab.
The Scarab just cracked me up. He was like evil Skeets.
Yeah,
he was
it was.
Like,
it was evil Skeets. It's fantastic.
You must destroy him. No, he's my friend. He disagreed with you.
You must end him. And that all paid off too, because it turns out like the Scarab can be a very destructive force. Like all of that back and forth, and I don't know. It was a funny kind of aside, but turns out there's a really ridiculously evil component to that bog. Mm-hmm. And Jaime's so good of heart he defeats it. Even that has a story arc.
Neutron.
Okay,
that was his name.
Okay, I don't feel like a victory has been accomplished here. But I accept it.
I remembered, so I had to say it.
Okay. Did you feel that wash of relief when you remembered something that you weren't supposed to remember anymore?
Yeah.
Tip of the tongue syndrome going away?
Mm-hmm. The tingling in my extremities have stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
some people exercise and say that happens, but I don't believe them.
No, that's just not real.
Hogwash.
Poppycock.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about the Red Tornado family at all, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we didn't. I will just say that I really loved Red Tornado throughout the series.
I mean, he was fine in the first season, but I kind of felt like it led to nowhere.
Yeah, I think they wrote him off. I think they decided that he wasn't helping the show and kind of got him out of there. Because remember, he's their mentor for the longest time.
Yeah, and then like he had that, secret identity body that they put him into, and I don't remember what happened to him after that.
Well, he ends up being a big part of the season 1 finale because he gets tagged by the Starotech, by the way.
Yeah.
Why not? He gets tagged by that, and he has had 0.16 seconds before. Anyway, so he ends up being a major cog in fixing that. But
yeah,
the way the series ends, though, as it stands, they finally get brought up to the Watchtower and told, we're both going to work out of here. We're both equal teams. Y'all do what that was so nice. It was just so nice.
Yeah.
They earned it.
And
then
cool.
on top of that, like, Aqualad's like, turns around and is like, okay, that was a good moment. All right, guys, get to work. You got this. You got this. Starts calling teams. Nightwing, who needs some time after Wally's passing, just kind of smiles at him like, yep, business as usual. Strolls out.
So,
I learned, by the way, what to call that the other day. Somebody said it was the Irish goodbye, where, like, if you're at a party, you don't say bye to everybody. You just sort of aren't there anymore. I was somewhere and was, like, trying to make my exit, and someone went, okay, don't even bother. Don't say bye to everybody. Just give them the old Irish goodbye, and then they explained to me that was apparently a term. No idea how that works, but the Bat family has to be the master of that technique.
Right. So that was something that didn't work for me. I never bought it. It was fine, but I never bought it. I did not buy that Caldor was had ever truly turned against the team.
I didn't, but they still did a good job with making the story work.
They did, but,
I mean, emotionally, I didn't get invested in that idea at all.
Right.
But it still worked just fine for the episodes as they were. I don't think I was supposed to be emotionally there, necessarily.
I feel like they presented it as it was supposed to be, like, a big reveal, like, oh, man, he's, because he takes off the Manta helmet and it's him, and you're like, oh, what?
I know. But you got to remember the show was also supposed to be made for 11-year-old boys who were going to buy the toys. So, I mean, come on, we're a couple of adults watching it because it's still got a lot of great themes and content.
No. We're not playing that card. I'm not playing that card. The studio, Cartoon Network wanted it to be for 11-year-old boys. The people who were writing it for people who enjoyed narrative. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been a serialized show. It would have just been Teen Titans.
It would have been Teen Titans Go or something. But I'm still giving it to them based on, I think they made it work on both levels. No, I didn't buy the reveal. I was never in the market for that reveal. It's fine. But if I was 11 and really not paying attention and watching the show every week, I'd be like, oh my God. I could totally see that working on a younger generation. But, like, as an adult, there were so many other side stories happening and so many reveals that was fine. Like, that was just, oh, yep, that was where that beat was supposed to happen. Good job.
Yeah,
they
I kind of feel
just
like
had
if
enough
it was
going on. I think they got away with both, like they did so many times.
Yeah, I think they may have made him too good of a character. Like, they spent so much time with him specifically trying to figure out who the mole was in season 1, and also on Roy trying to figure out who the mole was. There was too much talk of a mole.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't. I just didn't buy it. I didn't buy it when he was working with Black Mano and with his father.
There was so much going on that I thought it worked just fine. I definitely didn't get bored with the storyline or I binged the crap out of the series. I watched it probably like 5 years ago for the first time.
Yeah, I wasn't bored with it. I wasn't bored with that.
There was definitely enough happening. I was very happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember that being at the end of an episode where he takes the helmet off and, like, walks back into the sea or something. I don't remember the shot exactly. It's been too long. I'm sorry, but yeah, it kind of I saw that and went, yep, and click next. So, I forget if it was click next or if we were at the point where Netflix just played the next one for you automatically. I don't remember what stage of the Netflix dimension we were at then.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, Clarion the Witch Boy wasn't as bad as I thought he would be.
He was just barely tolerable.
Brent Spiner's Joker was every bit as bad as I thought it would be.
That was unfortunate, wasn't it?
It was. But God, man, I really want a little more. I wish they would do they could do like a side series where it was just the Justice League. Because
yeah,
I really want to see Plastic Man. They were like doing the whole thing, like we're bringing in Icon and Plastic Man and bringing in making sure Dr. Fate is here. And like,
yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, the show should have been called Young Justice Unlimited.
Well, I mean, that was just the members of the Justice League. I just really wanted to see more Justice League.
I know, but it went way beyond the core members. They were really branching out a little bit. Introducing a lot of people as they went. Like it felt more like Justice League Unlimited than it did Justice League, as far as expanding the character set and really opening up the universe.
In some ways, I loved McGann's I don't know, complete lobotomizing of people. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was dark. That was neat.
I was really in love with the idea that she was actually ruining them for life. Like, the fact that she went back and, like, helped Caldor, like, quote, rebuild his mind was annoying to me. Because I felt like it took away the stakes. Like, I feel like she should have actually ruined him because she didn't know what was happening. And then that would have been the thing that made her, like, oh. I mean, it was still the thing that made her go, oh. But, you know, I don't know. I feel like there should have been...
It worked for a character to go in there and be all hopeful and try to rebuild him, make him, you know, the teammate she wants to do. It played for me.
I mean, you know, even if she could just bring him back just a little bit, but he was still effectively, like, disabled, that would have been stronger than what they did, which is just bring him back to full capacity. And it makes me feel like, oh, she's just gonna go and, like, you know, bring all those little aliens back she killed.
Right.
We watched their eyes go wide and their mouths open and that long string of drool come out. Like,
yeah.
Oh, God.
It was a nice moment for her where you got to see, oh, man. Oh, so she's a heavy hitter. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Speaking of killing the little folk, Lobo, lots of fun there for a second.
Just a second.
Yeah.
All right. Let's jump into season 3 because there is no season 3 yet, but it is coming. It's called Young Justice Outsiders. They've been doing SDCC drops. As far as news is concerned, they've included a bunch of the new characters that are going to be popping up. We're going to get a spoiler. Stephanie Brown,
the person, not the thing.
I'm a little worried they might go into Artemis territory as far as a storyline, because Stephanie Brown's father was the Clue Master, and you know, she comes from criminality. And but maybe that'll be good for Artemis to kind of I don't know, be able to be like a mentor type of person for her.
Yeah, I could easily see that being a mentor thing for them.
Dude, like Nightwing and Artemis and Black Lightning and Superboy, they've shown us, and they're all in like they're like stealth gear.
Yeah,
which looks a little different.
Yeah.
But I'm down with that. Nightwing looks like he has his Christmas sticks or whatever.
Right.
But we've got Arrowette, a character who watched Green Arrow and Artemis save her father, and was inspired to become a hero. And a whole cloth character called 13, and I don't know, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, no idea what she's going to be about really yet.
I don't know if this is Damien or not, as far as Robin, or if this is Tim. I would think if it was another time leap, he shouldn't still be this young.
Yeah. We'll have to see about that. I was wondering how deep a leap we're taking here, because it didn't look like a lot of the characters are in very similar costumes, and whereas last time they were in entirely different identities in some cases. Mm-hmm. So,
by the way, back into season 2 real quick. I'm a little annoyed. I'm a little annoyed that we didn't get a little more time with Dick and Babs.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
There's that.
They'll have time for that story, especially with spoiler round and maybe need some coaching and stuff like that from the rest of the Bat family. The extended Bats.
So yeah, they've said that they were really hindered on Cartoon Network. So with DC's new streaming service, they're going to get into more adult storylines and themes. I'm down with that.
Oh yeah, they're not trying to sell toys this time.
Yeah, we got 26 episodes for this 3rd season. They haven't started on the last 4 of them, but they know where they're going with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was Robin, Blue Beetle, Kid Flash. Looks like a completely new Kid Flash. I don't know who this Kid Flash is. Probably the other Wally West, if they're going that way.
Yeah.
Static. Happy to see him again. Wonder Girl, Beast Boy, and Arsenal.
Down with all that. No, an Arrowette. Yeah.
And spoiler.
She's just got a confusing name to use in the context of news.
Yeah. You were not heavily familiar with spoiler, were you?
No. That's she hadn't really been on my radar. I've only seen the name around here and there, but I've never actually run across her in a story.
Like I was a big fan of Stephanie Brown. I liked her a lot. I used to read in the 90s when Tim Drake got his own Robin monthly. She was his girlfriend and daughter of Clue Master. It was really good. And then wound up, becoming Robin. She was also Batgirl at one point. For some reason, Dan DiDio doesn't like her.
Why not? That may be a good thing. Dan DiDio has made some questionable decisions in the last decade.
Sure. But yeah. Oh, they said apparently at Comic-Con they said initially we weren't allowed to use either Wonder Girl, but they told us toward the end of season 1 that we were then actually allowed to use her. And they wanted to get some tribute to the original 60s Teen Titans, which I think they did.
Mm-hmm.
They were asked what the deal with Jason Todd was, and they just apparently shook their heads and wouldn't say anything.
Well, if I remember correctly, it's a quick shot. I'm not sure I saw it. Right, but there's like in the last episode, there's this series of holograms with people who have passed, like Justice League members or heroes that have gone, and there's a Robin costume in there.
Is there?
Yeah, there's like a Ted Cord Blue Beetle in the background, and there's a Robin hanging around, and then they pan past all that, and you get to Wally. Pretty sure about that. Y'all feel free to correct me.
Yeah, I didn't freeze it for that. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about season 3 coming out, and I guess we'll talk about that when the time comes, and when we've watched all of that, we'll do an episode.
Yeah. Were we comfortable promising Smallville in a few weeks?
Yeah, we could probably crank that up. It's been a couple of years for me. So we're gonna have a reverse situation because you just finished Smallville, didn't you?
Yeah,
just a couple of months ago.
Finally caught up to the rest of the world.
Yeah, and it's been a while since I finished it, so
yeah,
more than a couple of years.
Yeah, so we'll get to do this in reverse. It'll be fun. But
not really. You won't remember what you saw.
Not a chance. So we'll struggle through it together.
No. Oh gosh. So anyway.
If I just play the Remy Zero song in my head, I actually remember a lot more than it seems. If you're trying to remember what happened at any point, just hear the somebody say, and just it'll come to you.
That doesn't work.
It will. Meditate on it for a while. It'll be good.
No, I'm good. I don't need to meditate on anything.
That's fair.
Yeah. So we are DC On Screen. Thank you guys for listening. You can find every episode at dconscreen.com. Catch up with us on Twitter and Facebook. Tell us how we were so wrong. Tell us the characters we couldn't remember on Young Justice and how we screwed up. And why, complain to us about what we didn't talk about. I'm sure there's something that we missed. We didn't, because that's who we are. Mm-hmm. And it's so sad.
You've only got a week and some change to go back on Netflix and review things to correct us with. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's okay. I think they're going to go over to the WB streaming network. My bet is the episodes will be available on the streaming network once they...
Absolutely. Yeah. If you want to call us, leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show. 205-259-6331. That is not a promise, by the way. If it's just pure nonsense, well, we'll probably still play it as proven by the old Witter woman. Mm-hmm. But, you start throwing out, racial epithets or something, we'll probably not do that.
I suppose there's a limit, but we haven't found it quite yet, so...
Yeah. Anyway, 205-259-6331 to give us a shout on voicemail. And we're going to be coming back on Monday with all of the SDCC news that we can muster. Mm-hmm. Until next time, keep some DC on your screen.
Introducing Carvana Value Tracker, where you can track your car's value over time and learn what's driving it. It might make you excited.
Whoa, didn't know my car was valued this high.
It might make you nervous.
Uh-oh, market's flooded. My car's value just dipped 2.3%.
It might make you optimistic.
Our low mileage is paying off. Our value's up.
And it might make you realistic.
Car prices haven't gone up in a couple weeks. Maybe it's time to sell.
But it will definitely make you an expert on your car's value. Carvana Value Tracker. Visit Carvana.com to start tracking your car's value today.